We are back in the black hole of real estate, and I'm getting some questions about what it would look like to have a new, like brand new home for the holidays. And I have some ideas about how to make that happen and what it looks like at the end of the year. Now, this is Ron Wysokarski, your host for the black hole of real estate. New construction at the end of the year can work in a buyer's favor. And here's what I'm talking about. There are times where they will offer incentives on a brand new house that is move-in ready condition at the end of the year. Now, a move-in ready house might be one that is near completion that might take another 30 or so days to finish completing the home. All the selections have already been made way in advance. You know, the flooring types, the kitchen cabinets, the countertops, and there's no customization. They're finishing a home that they're building out of an inventory that can be purchased, and so they call it a move-in ready home or an express home. And there's absolutely some reasons that a builder might want to sell those before the end of the year. Certainly just to get the inventory off the books, spike some last minute sales. Someone out there could be getting a sales bonus based on number of sales, and you'd want to have that, in this year, in this quarter, as opposed to next year with uncertainty. And sometimes people move around to different divisions or areas within construction. So it makes a lot of sense that there are incentives and reasons for the builder to want to close things up before the end of the year. Now, it's unlikely that you're going to get money off on the base price, especially if they have others to sell in there, because the sales comps are such that if there's a lower sale in there, it's going to affect all the other ones if there's financing. So if all the homes are 400 and they sell one at 350 or 375, that's going to change the ability for the appraisals to come in at the $400,000 value for the ones that sell for more. Now, if you're sharp and you're watching this, if it's the last home or two in a subdivision and they're closing it out, you might be able to negotiate in their price a little more easily because they're less concerned about appraisal values for all the rest and upholding the values within there. They're largely done. They got one or two left. They'll probably close simultaneously. So it'll come out in the wash and they can move on, clear off the inventory, and move all the equipment and workers and everything to a different location. So if it's at the end of a sales cycle in a subdivision that's closing out, then absolutely you're going to have some opportunities within this that's going to make sense for them to sell and for you to buy. I hope that makes sense. Now, knowing that we have a chance in that situation to get a little off in the price, and we know there's some motivation, I would say take a look at the incentives. So for instance, if there's a lot premium, you back up to water, you back up to a neighbor, maybe a preserve. Backing up to water typically is the most expensive, lot premium. It's an add-on above the base. Backing up to preserve, second most desirable typically. Backing up to a neighbor, the least desirable of the three. You may get them to soften or waive or save a little money in the lot premium because the base price stays the same and the lot premium increases that price, so that works. The other way that you can really save some money is maybe let's go shopping in a design center. Now, if it's already pre-built and pre-spec, you're probably not going to get much in that area, so I wouldn't look too much for that. But if you're pre-qualified, you have your own lender, that certainly is good. And if you choose to leave your personal lender and use the builder's lender, there are times where they'll offer significant closing costs, anywhere from $1,000 or $2,000 to $5,000 or $10,000. So the ways that you can save on the purchase price in a closeout of a subdivision, absolutely. You can save maybe on some of the upgrades or lot premium, and then you can definitely get some closing cost assistance if you use their preferred lender. So those are the things that I would look at if I was shopping for a new home for the holidays. I've seen a number of salespeople in the construction industry coming into my office, and they're doing everything from offering, tasty treats and goodies to wanting to meet, the team, to explaining their product, whether it's single-family homes or townhomes or condos. There's a lot going on right now. And when they're out in the field, what it tells me is people aren't walking into their office. So the opportunity might just be you're going to have less competition when you walk in there. You'll have the sales reps' undivided attention. And if you choose to have your own representative who understands the ebbs and flows of the negotiations, then you stand a really good chance of getting a great deal on a home where that may not be as easy to get as the economy picks up, as interest rates get lower, as inflation goes down, and honestly, excitement increases. I think people are going to get on the move right now. As the interest rates start to close the gap, they're not going back down to the 2s and 3s, but when they start flirting with the low 6s or high 5s, you're going to see more inventory coming on the market. So if there was a sweet spot for a buyer and you're able or willing and wanting to move in a holiday situation, it's a great opportunity. Now, the other thing I would say is this: just because you purchased a home, and let's say you close on December 30th, nothing requires you to move in on New Year's. You could legitimately hold off moving out of your apartment or out of your home, move in over there, a week, a month or two, and then finish off the lease if you're renting. Put your home on the market after you move out, or maybe that home that you're living in turns into an investment property where you make some cash flow to help pay for the new house. So there's a number of ways that you can work out the logistics of moving over the holiday. Now, knowing what you know right now and you want to move, what would be the question that you would ask yourself? Well, if I was asking myself that question, am I ready to move? Do I want to move? What would the opportunity look like to move right now before the end of the year and get some incentives, knowing that I have a full year of appreciation coming up and maybe ahead of the curve of other buyers? I would give it a second look. It doesn't mean you should buy right now. It means give it a second look. I would make sure that the lender that I choose, if I was financing, had a program where I could refinance with no lender costs for up to the next 5 years, because those companies exist. They will legitimately give you a lower rate, waive all the lending fees on a refinance for up to 5 years. So it's a really good incentive program on the lender side as well. With the hurricane codes such that they are and insurance expenses right now, a brand new home built to today's standards is going to have a much lower risk factor, so a lower cost of insurance, which can save you, hundreds, maybe even $1,000 or $2,000 per year. In over 30 years, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in savings really adds up. The cost of deferred maintenance goes away. You're not looking at a roof for 20 years, 30 years. HVAC, 10, 12, 15 years. Plumbing and electrical all meet the current codes and standards. And all the appliances are new. So you may not have a big ticket item to pay for 10 years. It makes it interesting to think about taking away all those extra costs of home ownership and having everything brand new and a great start to the year. So going to be super careful and not be sales pitchy right now. This is not about, hey, buy a house. This is if you were thinking about it and you wanted some additional information to help you make the right decision, the best possible decision for you, your family, for your budget, for your investment, your wealth growth in the real estate space. Wealth building's a big thing. And the one that I would really examine, can you keep the existing home that you live in, flip it into a rental situation, and then buy the home that you want to live in next, and you'd be wealth building on two different properties, favorable rates probably on both, and the ability to let those build out an investment portfolio different than your 401ks or your other investments, and just adding a layer for diversity. I hope this at least got you thinking about what it would look like if you made the move on a move-in ready new construction home before the end of the year. And if it makes sense, well then, hey, you get to take the next step. And if it doesn't, well, at least now you know you've examined it a little bit deeper. And if you got questions, absolutely just drop us a line. Definitely subscribe. I want to be able to bring this information to you on a weekly basis so that you can do well in real estate, you can do well with investments, and you'll be able to do well when you're in a conversation with friends or family about these type of topics. This is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.